Welcome back to Chasing Green Arrows. We're in that moment of the season. One game left. All the leagues are done. The Europa League is done. It's the Champions League final. We'll be previewing it today. Man City versus Chelsea. I have a huge Chelsea fan with me, Rayan Ahmed. How are you doing, man?
Doing fine, what's up, bro? I'm doing
Uh,
fine. I'm just nervous. It's nerve-wracking right now. This biggest game we've had in probably 9 years. So it's surreal.
I can imagine, getting to the Champions League final. I remember those days 10, 15 years ago where United used to make it. It used to be very nerve-wracking. But, I think Chelsea done an outstanding job. If I asked you in the beginning of the season that Chelsea will be in the Champions League final, would you have said yes?
No, honestly, I wouldn't have said. I thought maybe round of 16 was the max we could go because of the new team and because of the lack of chemistry between the team. But I have to say the new manager, Thomas Tuchel, has done a marvelous. I mean, you can't express in words what kind of a job he's done to get that team into the Champions League final. You know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
100% unbelievable. His tactics have been really good. What's impressed you the most about him? I think for me it was like bringing in the older players as well, like Aspilicueta,
Yes,
Alonso, getting them in. Was it Zuma? No,
Rudiger.
not Zuma. Rudiger. Sorry, yeah, getting Rudiger in as well. So for me it was that. But one thing that impressed you about Tuchel this season?
I'm going to first before coming to the tactical news of Tuchel about it. I'd like to say he's a unbelievably charismatic guy. As soon as you hear him in interviews, you just fall in love with him, and you just want him to be your manager forever. He's that kind of a guy. He just instantly captures every fan's attention and love. So obviously, that's one of the factors because he has managed to get this connection with the fans instantly, especially from my point of view. And secondly, as you mentioned, he's actually made use of the entire squad. He hasn't frozen out many players. Maybe for we could say Tammy Abraham, one guy who hasn't seen much game time since he took over. Injuries as well as poor form are contributing factors to that. But if you analyze it with a broader sense of your view, then you could say that Tuchel has actually made use of the squad very well since he has taken over, and he's brought in those more experienced players back into the starting lineup. He's adopted a system that would really help us in the short run. That is, the second half of the season, we've gone reverted to that back three we played under Conte, and although they are pretty differing styles, but there are some similarities too. And he has actually managed to improve and bring the best out of a few players, especially I would like to say Antonio Rudiger. Honestly, I'd like to eat my words on this, and I'm so happy that I was proven wrong because I was a big advocate of getting Rudiger out last summer, and I was like, I would have bitten your hand off if you would have got 25 million for Rudiger. But now I just don't want him to leave, man. He's such a key player in that system, in that team, and his leadership qualities. He's the kind of player probably that Jose Mourinho would have loved in his team because he has that mentality to just go and play every game like it is his last, and he would just give everything for your team in every match. So that's the biggest surprise under Tuchel is the resurgence of Rudiger as well as Andreas Christensen. He has found that form again that he had when he had broken onto the scene with Chelsea in 2017. He has been phenomenal. Yeah, in the City, the last game against Manchester City in the league, he tore his hamstring, and he had to. He has been recovering from that injury. But before that, in that he's kept so many clean sheets, and he's been absolutely. He didn't put a foot wrong in any of those matches. So yeah, these are the players that have made a big difference since Tuchel
Yeah.
has took over. So that's what I commented for.
We live in a harsh kind of world, and that's relating to the comment Loud not sure saying, but the fact that he's missed out on two crucial opportunities is inbred. But the thing I was talking about is the FA Cup final. They lost there, but they made the top four. Now, a Champions League final, if he loses, a lot of people will call him a bottle job and everything. I don't agree with that personally because I think the way he picked up Chelsea, they were 10th place and took them into the top four. I think that's what they wanted. I think that was Chelsea's first goal, get into a Champions League position, and then anything above that will be a bonus. But the
Bonus,
fact that
basically.
they lost to Leicester in the FA Cup, it wasn't like they lost to City or United or someone else like that. They lost to Leicester, and then now the Champions League final. If he does lose, will people have doubts? I don't think you will, or maybe not many Chelsea fans will. But do you think people will have doubts about him?
you see, the only people that will have doubts about him are those who don't watch the team regularly. Who just pop up for the big games and just watch him probably for the cup final or the Champions League final. Coming back to that cup final you were talking about, I would say that was partially his fault, but I blame the individuals who played that day as well, because they didn't play the way they were expected to play. The money we paid for them, the amount and the mentality that they showed that day. Because I keep talking about mentality and that spirit to just go out and win. I might be called someone who's an old-fashioned fan, but you need that. You absolutely need that to succeed. And that day, I saw something that I didn't see by any of those players under Tuchel, was that the heads went down and they lost their heads that day. And Leicester, they took their chance, took that long shot. And I blame Tuchel for the team selection that day. A couple of things really got into my head and really angered me that day. But, I blame the players more than I blame the manager for that. And the question you put in front of me, that people call him a bottle job or something like that, I don't agree with that. Because even if we lose to Manchester City, you're talking about Manchester City, a team that has been vetted to reach this spot for the last 4 years, or 5 years actually, since Guardiola took over. So basically, that's validation for his work rather than Tuchel's, because he had 6 months to get this team in the Champions League final, while Guardiola has been trying this for the last 5 years.
That's a very good point. Yeah.
That's an important point. And he got in there without any of our new signings or strikers scoring more than 7 goals this season. Okay.
Yeah.
None of them have scored more than 7 goals in the league I'm talking about. But that form also equates to the Champions League. We have seen some remarkable defensive performances. And I'd like to say is that the way the team has performed under Tuchel in the Champions League is commendable, because we saw the best versions of these players under him in the league. So that's something I appreciate. So if he loses tomorrow, whatever happens, I'm not going to put the blame on Tuchel or the players, because you could say this is a very young squad and the game came too early for them. Because all of them in the early 20s, they haven't had many finals experiences before. Just like, for example, if you compare this team to the 2012 team that won, they had a ridiculous spine who have played in semi-finals, finals of Champions League for umpteen number of times. You've got your Lampards, you've got your Drogba's. Terry didn't play, but he was there. He was part of the run. So it's very different to that year. And we were bigger underdogs that year, but still, I wouldn't blame him if he lost tomorrow. But I really hope we do it. I don't want to see City equaling our Champions League wins.
Yeah, no, I agree with that completely, because it took Klopp as well 4 or 5 years. It took Pep some time as well to make them a very successful squad, and I think Tuchel needs to be given that time. He's shown a lot of positive vibes right now, and let's see how it goes. If Tuchel loses, this will be the quickest sacking in the history of the PL. No, I don't think so. I don't think he'll be sacked if he loses this game, because
He's come out in an interview and just said that he's going to be probably offered a new contract, right? There's an undertone in his interview with, I think it was BT Sport or Sky Sport, I'm not sure on the source. But, the Telegraph. Exactly. Yeah. The Telegraph, there was an interview with him on the Telegraph. So I don't think he's going to be sacked. Sorry. If he is sacked, then there are some serious questions need to be raised of that board for their impatience, because it just doesn't work that way. If you just keep sacking and hiring and... I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. And just talking about Pep Guardiola, Man City, I think the pressure will be on Man City. Yes, they played wonderful football this season. They've won the Premier League. They won the Carabao Cup as well. They have an amazing squad, and I think it's shown that it's helped them a lot in this COVID kind of pandemic situation where, there have been injuries. We've seen, the likes, like for PSG, Mbappe got injured. They didn't have a replacement. But City, if somebody gets injured, someone else steps up, and, credit to them for that. But at the same time, if they lose this, I think a lot of pressure on Pep. I will put that pressure as well. I'm not the biggest fan of him, but you still have to respect for what he's done and for Man City. Just a little about him and Man City. The players. We'll get into the key battles, but just a bit about Pep.
I don't know what needs to be said about Manchester City. Everything, the writings on the wall. We've been seeing him for the last 5 years doing his work, doing his magic. Although, every team has that financial backing, and they've used that backing well. Unlike other teams, I'd even put Chelsea in that. I put Manchester United in that. Yes, sorry, unlike United, because they had the funds and they used them properly. They signed players that would improve the team, not just for the sake of signing them, just not to make a statement. And Pep, with the help of I think Ferran Soriano and Cheeky Bergestein, their board, and these three
CEO, yeah.
people have come together and really built a solid, monstrous squad, I could say, where you have an equally good replacement for every player.
Yeah.
You've got two of everything.
Yeah, no, 100%.
I
That's
don't.
two things. And
Yeah.
the fact that Aguero might not, like, he probably won't even really come maybe as sub. The fact that him, Jesus, these guys will be on the bench. Even Sterling potentially will be on the bench. I think that just shows the quality
These
of
are
squad
people
that
who've been consistently scoring 15 plus goals in the league for the last 4 years, and these
Yeah.
guys are going to find themselves most probably on the bench.
Yeah.
It just goes to show the strength City has in depth, and Pep, all said and done, is probably the best manager of this generation, post Fergie generation. So I don't think
I'm going
need to
Klopp.
talk much about Pep. I don't, man. I mean, Klopp is someone I rate very highly, and I love his attitude and the way he motivates his players. But Pep's record speaks for himself, man. Those trophies cannot be argued with.
Yeah, and also, the false nine. Like, we've seen Pep, like, we've seen Spain actually. They won a World Cup with a false nine. Iniesta scoring that goal against Holland, I think.
Barcelona too.
Barcelona too.
Under Tito Villanova, and as well as the last season of Pep, they played a false nine.
They played a false nine. So, I honestly feel that you need a striker, like, because he's the one who's going to get you those opportunities. Even if he doesn't score, he gets behind the defenders. But the way they've been doing it this season so consistently, I think that's it's remarkable, basically.
That's remarkable because you've seen their best team this season, the team that you would absolutely put your money on to win each game, has had a false nine formation, right? They've gone with the front four of Mahrez, Foden, and Kevin De Bruyne, right? They've had Gundogan, Fernandinho, or Rodri, and Bernardo in midfield. And their front three has been basically Foden, Kevin De Bruyne, and Mahrez, with Kevin De Bruyne playing as a free false nine, right? Dragging the players. So that has worked wonders for them. And, the interesting part is thing is that Chelsea haven't played that false nine formation the last two, played against that false nine formation the last two times we met City in the FA Cup semi-final as well as in the league game. So that's going to be an interesting watch because there was some heavy rotation in those matches. And when we did play under Lampard, we were thrashed. So that has to be said.
Yeah, 100%. Just some comments I'm going to take. Ashish saying Pep only manages clubs with money so that he can buy trophies during the summer transfer window. Winning with a star team or winning with average players, which is more memorable? Leicester winning or City winning the EPL? I think Leicester winning that.
Obviously, Leicester winning the Premier League.
Leicester that season. But the thing is, the way Pep has, got Man City to playing football, like he's creating a dynasty, right? It's like 3-4 Premier Leagues. It's not just one Premier League. So people will remember that as well. And if they win the Champions League,
success is more important.
Yeah, people remember, United won 3 seasons in a row. Pep is doing this now. And if he wins the Champions League as well, people are going to remember this Man City team 100%. So it's just how you look at it. Abu Bakr's in the house. What's up, boys? I think I should already make a deal with him right now. If Chelsea win, he has to come on the podcast tomorrow. What do you say, Rayan?
Obviously, I wanted him to come on the podcast now. I forgot to text him, I actually, before it started, I was going to text him, and then I forgot when the podcast started. I was like, I don't know, man. But he needs to be on it.
Yeah, he has.
If Chelsea wins, we are going to take over the podcast.
Yeah, and for him, it's going to be a double celebration because he's leading the Champions League predictions as well for the Chasing Area. Yeah. It's going to be a double celebration for him. He's asking as well, Rayan, who is going to start up front for Chelsea? Now let's get into the tactics and everything. Who's starting, man? Up front. What? Timo Werner.
Abu, don't kill me, bro. Abu, don't kill me, man. But I think it's going to be Mount, Werner, and Ziyech up front.
Werner and Ziyech, fair enough. And I think, man, listen.
Abu, tell you who you think are going to start in the comments, please.
Yeah, comment with your starting 11. When is the Champions League final? Yeah, it's tomorrow, Saturday, 29th. That's when it is. It's at 8 p.m. British Standard Time. But you're going with Werner. Let's just talk about Werner a bit. He scored a lot of offside goals this season. He's got a lot of disallowed goals. He missed a lot of chances. I honestly feel he's a really good player. People talking about time in the Premier League. I don't think it's anything to do with the Premier League. He's been missing chances in the Champions League as well. It's just those unfortunate things.
I can't explain.
Because you guys have experienced this with Torres and players in the past. Morata. Yeah, you've experienced
Yeah,
this, so
we
it
know
might
any striker we buy becomes shit as soon as we buy.
Yeah.
Oh no, jokes aside, but I would like to say Werner. See, Werner is a tough one, because see, I love the guy because his attitude is different from the ones I experienced with Morata. Because Morata, every time he missed or he would go and complain, he would cry. This guy, he never the smile of his face never goes. He always keeps trying, always giving his best. His head never drops down. He's got this mentality that if I miss, I'm going to get another chance, then I'm going to try and score. But that's just not happening for him this season. It's just, I don't know. I attribute that to poor luck, maybe lack of ability, I would like to say. But there's not a lack of heart with Werner. I'm going to say that. There might be a lack of ability, but no lack of heart. And I know you said it's not about the Champions League or about the Premier League getting acclimatized, but I think we would see much better from Werner next season because he'll have an idea what to do, how to, he'll probably know how to adapt and change his game to make it better in the Premier League.
The reason why I said that is sorry to cut you, but the reason why I said that is because he's getting into those goal scoring positions. It's not like they're just like shoving him off and shouldering him. He's getting into those positions, so that shows that he's quality. He's he can run behind the defenders. He's assisting as well. So it's not like he's just getting shoved off, right? So it's not about the physicality or anything like that. And yeah, it could be time. I'm not saying that it could be just time. Fitting into the club, not just the league. It's the club as well, right? Getting used to the culture. He's living in a different country now. It's completely different. So it could be that as well.
Moving to a new country, that too in the middle of a pandemic, all that plays on the head of all these professional players. They're humans too. We have to understand that. But if Chelsea honestly want to do well next season, then the finishing has to improve because we are creating way too many good big chances for us to finish fourth, 16 points behind the champions, 19 points behind the champions, because the number of chances we've created this season and missed has been ridiculous to say the least. And the goal scoring record of our team just shows that. I'm sorry, but that has to improve. And I trust these players that they will improve because just writing players off after one season is unfair. I used to do that before, but I don't think I'm going to do that now. That's just immature and unfair. So I'm probably going to give these players more time, maybe another 6 months in the next season. But something needs to happen. And I hope they start off that clinical streak tomorrow. I'm begging for that. I hope one chance, one goal, bang. That's what happens.
Yeah, and one battle that there's a couple of battles I want to talk about. One is the youngster battle, two ridiculous talents, Mason Mount and Phil Foden. Everyone's talking about them. Both ridiculous players, brilliant. I've been very impressed with both of them, to be honest with you. But your thoughts on them and how do you think they're going to impact this game?
I mean, they're both ridiculous players. I mean, Mount and Foden, they're England's future. I'm not even going to deny it. They're two of the most brightest midfielders that country currently has. And Mount, I'd say that they have differing roles in their teams. Mount's like he although he does start in those front three positions, he drops deep. He's the one linking the defense, midfield, and the attack. He's the glue that basically holds this team together. He drops between the line. That's a very, very underrated ability to have for a player. To drop between those lines, find spaces, turn. Those are some of the basics many big players don't have, but this guy has them. And although he might not create as many clear-cut chances as you're probably expecting him to, but that he's just way too important for this team's success. So that's why I love Mason Mount. I had my doubts last year because
Ryan's opinions on Mount changed in a matter of months. Abu Bakr.
Yes, I agree with Abu Bakr wholeheartedly. I wasn't a big rater of Mount, but I've just fallen in love with the player. I have to eat my.
And why respect him?
Months, a year, bro. Come on. I ever since the season started, I've been a big supporter of him. Okay.
Yeah.
A few bad matches, and I was a bit angry, but he has stepped it up.
One thing, Ryan, as well as Foden, he's got Kevin De Bruyne with him as well. So a lot to learn from in training as well, and even on the pitch. And credit to him, he is leading and he's showing unbelievable talent. But Mount didn't really have that role model, I think, compared to someone like a Kevin De Bruyne to look up to.
Foden, there's a difference. There's a very big difference, major difference between Foden and Mount is that Foden, I see him more of a very naturally gifted type of player, whereas Mount has had to work tooth and nail to reach the level he is at today. He has worked hard. He's worked on training.
Pep said that Foden is like the most talented player he's seen at like
Yeah,
17 years of
exactly.
age.
He's played with Messi, so I don't know where that comes from. But Foden is he's a gifted player, and also he's been surrounded by better players in his time with City, and he's been slowly integrated in that team. But he's such a key player now. I mean, he's got almost all the attributes. He can dribble, he can pass, he can shoot. He's got that spatial awareness that a good midfielder needs. He gets into the pockets of spaces very well. He always makes the right runs, makes the right decisions. So, I mean, he's a luxury player. Any team is going to be lucky to have Phil Foden, right?
Yeah, and for me, it's going to be down to these two guys for the team, how they perform.
And sorry, before I continue, in my opinion, he has outperformed Kevin De Bruyne this season, Phil Foden. He's been more consistent over the entire season than Kevin De Bruyne. I know I'm going to get a lot of criticism for this statement, but Kevin De Bruyne, he hasn't been at the level he was last season. You can attribute it to injuries or something, but he has had a few shocking performances during the season. And that's just my opinion. I hope people don't come at me for that. Everyone's entitled to this.
They will, especially if he scores tomorrow. He's a class player.
He always scores against Chelsea. I always remember that.
Yeah, because you let him go, man. I don't know what was going on with Mourinho at that time. But Ryan, defensive midfielder, I think these two players are the most important tomorrow. Kante and Fernandinho. Fernandinho, 35 years old, still a beast. Kante, for me, he's the best defensive midfielder ever to play in the Premier League. That's just my opinion. I think he's just an amazing player. Is he going to be fully fit? And who do you think will dominate that? Because Kante will have to stop the likes of De Bruyne, Foden, whereas this guy, Fernandinho, will have to stop Mount, Werner, and these guys as well. So who's going to have a more difficult task, and who do you think will perform better?
You know, the thing that you said, Kante, one of the best defensive midfielder, he's not really a classical defensive midfielder, I would like to say, because he has that freedom to go everywhere onto the pitch. He drives with the ball forward.
He doesn't have the freedom. He has the ability to do that.
And he can drive. He drives with the ball. He's more of a box-to-box midfielder than a defensive midfielder.
He's unbelievable, man. No, I agree with that.
Because of his ability.
Yeah, because of his ability. And I agree with that.
And he's being supported by Jorginho as well, who has seen an unbelievable upturn in form under Thomas Tuchel. Yeah. I had given up on him, but hats off to him. Last 3-4 games, he's been a little poor. I'd say that. But him and Kante against Real Madrid have been unbelievable in those two legs. They were just, and I think those two, the pair, their best game, I think the two best games were against Real Madrid at home and against Liverpool away. If you have the time, just go and watch those two play in those two matches again, all over again. I'm telling you, man, those are some of the best midfield performances I've seen this season.
I completely agree with that.
And you said Fernandinho. Fernandinho is ridiculous at 35 years of age.
The PSG game he played so good.
That's the difference between Rodri and Fernandinho, right? Rodri is too safe, in my opinion. Too safe of a player. Fernandinho is going to give you that extra edge in midfield that Rodri probably won't give you. Plus, he's the captain. Plus, he's got those natural leadership abilities. So that's the difference between Rodri and Fernandinho. That's why Pep has trusted Fernan in the bigger games this season. So,
do you think that's where the game will be won between these two guys? Who performs well?
These three guys, don't forget about Jorginho, please. He's going to be crucial. With him and Kante work really well together, because Jorginho, he's really good at moving the defenses around with the short passes and then playing one through the lines to Mount or Kante or someone, and then we create those overloads in attack, and with the wing backs pushing forward. So that's going to be fun to watch, and I hope these two midfielders can outdo Fernandinho. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and Diaz in defense, how do you break him down? I don't think he played in the game where you won 2-1, but I think he played in the FA Cup semi-final.
We haven't faced Diaz in the league. We did face him in January. He played in the FA Cup.
He played in the FA Cup, so you did score a goal against him. But how do you break down that City defense? Because with Diaz there, they look very solid, and then the wing backs do the job as well.
Diaz and Stones, I would say, not just Diaz. Diaz with Stones is really good compared to Diaz with Laporte, because those Diaz and Stones complement each other much better than Laporte and Diaz. And it's going to be tough. Those guys are going to be really motivated, and Diaz has that ability. You've seen. I'm not comparing. I'm just talking about similarities. You've seen Vidic in his prime, right? How he used to be. He wasn't afraid of putting his head anywhere. So he has that ability to make that last-ditch challenge and the heart to play that way. And plus, he's really good on the ball. and he's got really good awareness and game reading abilities. So that's going to be tough. Diaz probably been one of the better defenders in the Premier League this season. So, and our attackers are, it's going to be key for Werner to stretch those defenders. That's going to be his main role. Probably not the goal scoring bit, but to stretch that defense so that spaces are created.
I think he will stretch them, but
But being onside, he has to stretch them. He has to stretch them while being onside.
For me, this is how I look at the game. City dominate position. There'll be a lot of pressure in the first 20-30 minutes. Chelsea will try to absorb that. If they do, it'll go into that second half, and then it's about taking those chances. Who takes those chances? Who gets? And I've seen enough from Chelsea this season that even if they go a goal down, they can come back against this City team. So that will give them some confidence. But if it's the other way around, I think that will really trouble City. If Chelsea get the lead, I think that will trouble City because it won't suit them at all. In that, because then on the counter,
I was going to make that point. Because if Chelsea take the lead, it's going to be tough for City. Because they'll have to commit more extra person forward, and with the pace in behind of our attackers, probably we'll be enough to. It will be enough to get a second and get that insurance. But I don't agree with you in one thing that you said. If Chelsea go down 1 goal, they'll be able to come back because.
I'm saying that they have done that. They have
done that against City, but that was a weakened City team, And we were also kind of weak, but that day was I don't know what happened.
You guys,
seriously, we actually really played well in the second half that day, and we dominated the ball.
Yeah,
and,
I would say it was a fair game because you also rested players, so I wouldn't really look into it. That's why I felt it was a more balanced. Like both teams dropped some players, and again, of course, it's very easy for me to say that. And I agree with you. It's not that easy for them to come back if they go down. But I just feel they might because the way City play, they're gonna keep attacking, bro. They're not gonna really defend and park the bus. Whereas Chelsea might do that if they score. So that's
what. But I don't know if you've noticed, Musab, this season, City have been really different from what they were probably 2 years ago.
They are.
They become more pragmatic this season. They become more pragmatic and reactive. That's why they haven't scored as many goals as they usually do.
They have,
although they did have that early slump, but they focused more on keeping those clean sheets than going and scoring 5, 6, 7 goals.
Agreed. That's a good point. Yeah, agreed.
So it's going to be a very interesting tactical battle tomorrow. And I'm going to watch the game with my eyes closed because I just can't take it, bro. I mean, it's I'm very nervous when it comes to these big games.
Yeah, as a neutral, I hope it's it'll be an exciting game full of goals. I don't mind watching some penalties as well, but I know you don't want to be. I was on the wrong side. I was on the wrong side.
I'm going to close the TV. Abu, I'm going to switch the TV off if it goes to penalties.
But I'm hoping for a cracker of a Champions League final. Your prediction? Don't tell me.
Don't say that.
Just give me a score. No. I don't want to know that. Oh, it's going to be a good game. This, that. I want to know what's your score line.
4-3.
4-3 to Chelsea, huh?
No, just 4-3. I'm saying I'm not going to say anything more.
Well, you have to back your team, man, or just pick City, no problem. But tell me one team who's gonna.
I can't, man. I'm sorry. I'm terrible at predictions. Unless it's for a signed jersey or something, I'm good at predictions. But I'm not going to make a prediction now.
I'm telling you, my prediction is it's going to be 1-1, and then towards the end of full time, the City was going to be full time, night stoppage time, before extra time. I think it's going to be 1-1, and then I'm agreeing with Abu Bakr. It's going to be 1-1. City bombarding the box, and then suddenly they just clearance, and then Werner is in a Torres position. He's in the first.
Oh my god! And then if he goes and misses it, man,
he's going to score it. He's going to score it.
I'm coming to London, and I'm going to choke that guy out.
He's going to score it, man. I think I just feel it's written.
Just 1v1 score kar le bhai, Werner, please.
Yeah, Werner to score, but yes, going into this game, I feel that City are favorites, but I just, I'm hoping for an exciting game. Either way, I don't want either club to win, so I don't care. But at the same time,
what I'd like to do is get a 2-0 lead in the first 25 minutes and just sit back and just play on the counter, man.
That will still be nerve-wracking.
Get a dodgy penalty and a counter attack. Play 2-0 till halftime, and after that, just bring on 2-3 centre backs and play them in midfield, and with just Werner up front, and they will attack, and then we'll get one long ball, and then you've got your Werner Torres movement to make it 3-0. That's game over. Big Ears is coming home, bro.
Yeah, it's gonna be exciting. Peter Moran thinks City to win. Yeah, it could really happen. Guardiola.
They are the favorites,
Yeah, they are the favorites.
They are the favorites, clear-cut favorites.
Yeah, hoping that it'll be exciting. But yeah, I think City have played some magnificent football this season, and credit to them for that. But yeah, Ryan, any last thoughts going into the finals? Sleep well, take some good rest, and really enjoy the game tomorrow. Because I'm telling you, you don't know when your team is going to come to the final next. I think you should really enjoy the moment.
But light nahi jana raat mein, that's only the only concern.
Electricity issues, huh?
Yeah.
But yeah,
I think issues or something like that.
Yeah, no, I think you'll be fine. It's going to be a cracker of a game. I'll catch you. I'll catch you after the game, hopefully. And even if you lose, you better come on, huh? You better come on.
Yeah, I'm not going to be so. And bring Abraham as well on. I want to face him for last year's FA Cup loss as well. I couldn't do it.
We need to get them on, and if Chelsea win, Abu Bakr is coming on. We've already agreed.
And Abraham is coming on just so that we can say we won the Champions League and you finished it. Just like this just for the banter.
For sure. Peter Morgan, hope it's an open game. Yes, we also agree. I don't think it's going to be open. I think it's going to be cagey, but maybe one or two early goals, then it can open up the floodgates. I think that's what can happen. How much were tickets? I don't know, man. Ryan, do you know how much are the tickets?
I think 600 euros or something, just the basic ones. To 1250 euros. I checked the UEFA. I knew I was never going to go there, but I was just
We're predicting around 2,000 fans each, or 1,000 fans. How does it work?
No. I think 6,000 fans each.
Oh, so it's going to be like a 20,000 capacity. There's going to be a lot of fans. It's not going to be like the Europa League. Okay, it's going to be a lot of fans in the stadium. Really excited. Ryan, take care. Thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. And
my pleasure, Musa.
A lot of really good, insights. And I'll catch you after the game tomorrow. Thank you so much. Take care, Ryan.